Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. It is here! It is the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 2019 League Season 18 round number 1 here at Melbourne, Australia. My name is King-Kodiak and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Now, we have unfortunately had to restart the lobby, which is not a great start, sadly. However, technical gremlins are to be expected, especially with a new game. But never mind, we will get through them nonetheless. Now, joining me in the commentary box is going to be there is going to be a slight change to the commentary lineup for here at PC F1. Or Flatchus will be joining me for the rest of the season. Unfortunately, for personal reasons, he's not able to join me, so I have drafted in my old stablemate, my faithful companion. It is Mr. Sopwith. Is he even here?
Rookie mistake. Good evening, everyone.
Hamish, it has been a couple of months. Let's be fair on that. It has been a couple of months.
We were talking about rookie mistakes just before we went.
I know.
And I never unpaused my mic. I muted my mic.
Which is roughly what I did on a stream on Friday. I was chatting away quite merrily to my co-commentator, but I'd forgotten to unmute my microphone in OBS, so the stream couldn't hear me. So it wasn't until somebody pointed that out. Never mind. Enough of that. So, unfortunately, yes, we have had a bit of a technical problem. Our lobby host, I think, his computer decided he wanted to have a sit down, have a rest before getting underway with this incredible season that we are going to have for this particular event. And I need to mute players, otherwise we'll be hearing them in the lobby. Now, almost half, or indeed I think over half of this tier for PCF1 either are or have been involved in F1 esports. It is an incredible grid that we have got. It is going to be absolutely incredible. I would like to say that we are going to be the envy of other tiers. Don't get me wrong, the other guys have got amazing grids as well. But the people we've got lined up are pretty special. When we get into the session, we'll go through them all.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some really top quality drivers. And as me and Kodiak have become accustomed to, I have no doubt the qualifying is going to be so close down this 5.3 kilometre track. It's a nice opener, to be honest. Melbourne, it tends to be a track everyone you sort of just know, and it's a comfortable track to get into. It's not super difficult, but there's technical challenges, and to be honest, if you want to find the last fractions of a second, you've really got to push above and beyond. Sometimes you push above your limits. There's plenty of gravel for the drivers to go into. And we do often see not necessarily crashes, but we often see drivers making a mistake, getting a wheel into the AstroTurf and spinning the car, especially in the last sector, Kodiak, as we've seen many times before.
Oh yes, no doubt. That countdown we are all familiar with. We are getting back into the session. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to alt tab. I'm not going to touch the keyboard. I will risk staring at the monitor. I'm not meaning that as a slight to Codemasters or F1. The F1 2019 seems to be very, very well received, broadly speaking. So, F1 2018 had, I think, more issues out of the box than 19 has had. So, that's not a slate to them. I just didn't want to risk anything. And we are in! So, let's get rid of the music. Let's get rid of the image. And let's head trackside for what is going to be a rather interesting season, I would think. Come on, OBS, don't let me down now. And OBS is now choosing to not give me... I tested this earlier and it worked fine. Come on, you stubborn what's it. Oh no, don't do this to me now. This will be a radio broadcast. Otherwise, I will sort that. You can hear the cars going in the background, but for some reason my OBS does not want to play ball, which is annoying. So whilst I have a fight with this, Mr. Hamish, would you be so kind, please, as to run through who we have got?
Yeah, what a grid we have. I'll go through a team by team. In the Mercedes, we have Frey Schneider. We also have, well, in fact, he's Daniel Shields as well. So we have Frey Schneider and Daniel Shields. Frey Schneider is obviously, you will know from last year, an incredibly quick driver, very consistent. Daniel Shields, we will find out. I'm very much looking forward to see how he gets on. In the Ferraris, we have Corny and Matthias, two names that we recognise. In the Red Bull, we have Chromatic and Garrix. Again, two names we recognise from last season. Racing Point. This is a very interesting one. We have VP Steve, or as he is named here, what was his name on site? I do apologise for. Oh, it's CRG Steve, so it's the same. I thought he went under a different name. His teammates, however, is Sonic T Soltnik. So yes, one of two very big names in. Well, I say of very big names. There's plenty of very big names. He is one of the very big names in this season. In the Williams have Hypers and Flying Finn. Again, two names we know and we've commentated on before. Kodiak. In the Renault team, we have Jano Upmere, and we also have Jan Failer, who unfortunately is not able to make it to a day. So that's a shame, but I'm sure Failer will be around for the next few races to come. In the Toro Rosso, we have Photon and Manuel Biancalina. So again, two names that we know, so that's good. It's about one of the only grids where I actually recognise most of the names, which is nice. In the Haas, we have Hayes, and we also have Veloce James. So two, again, very quick drivers. Lots of very quick drivers, to be honest. In McLaren, we have Collis and Alasse. And in the Alfa Romeo, we have an absolute killer team. A Schumacher, I don't know what you call it, a Schumacher-Barrichello partnership of Berenzane Danny and the Flying Finn 08, or as known, at least in the actually he is known as the Flying Finn, but he's Sally Soltnik, so that's Sonic Soltnik's brother.
Yes.
And of course we have Formula Danny. Well, he is an AOR champion and an unbelievably fast driver. We have a first time on the board, which is set by Hypers. It's a 1:19.8. Anyone interested in last year's pole time? That was actually set by Tino Nukrainen, or Timp, as a lot of us knew him as, is a 1:18.7. So, although that pole time's already coming down, Kodiak.
Yep, well, we rather expected it to, with the 18.8 that we saw last time around, and the 19.2, I'm told, we saw on the PS4 side that preceded the rest. The stuttering seems to be an FPS issue, and I don't know why, because I didn't get it in testing. I wholeheartedly apologise. It's not anything I can resolve right now. Hopefully it'll sort itself out, but we will see as the stream goes on. So, Nicholas Longuet, otherwise known as Crows, signed up in the last Pro Draft in the Red Bull team, leads the way with a 19.5. Jarno Opmeer in the Renault with a 19.6, and then it is Sonach Saltank, one of the names I'm excited to be commentated on everybody. So I am very happy to be commentating on certain names that were primarily known in other platforms. The two Sultan brothers in particular were Xbox superstars, so to have them over here on the PC side is absolutely amazing. And I've met both of the Sultan brothers, and that's a big old freeze for me. Thank you very much, PC. Collis is out there. He's got a 7. And look how close the times are already. Now, something else I noticed on the PS4 side, the entire field was separated by less than a second, and I would not be at all surprised if we saw the same thing again. Now, Sam Lebert in the Toro Rosso, he is a reserve driver for this season. He is standing in for Manuel Biancalida. Have we got Photon with us? No, I don't think Photon is able to make it. So we were down 4 drivers, but still 17 drivers and some of the very, very best out there. This should still be pretty epic.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the drivers at this point will be going back into a pit. You know, they've gone out, they've set their fast lap, they'll be going back into a pit. Obviously, we've still got some drivers on out laps who are doing the opposite of what the norm is. So normally you go out, you do you prepare the car, do your out lap, you do your flying lap, and then you do an in lap. Some drivers will do the opposite, and that's simply because you're less likely to hit traffic. You know, there's 17 drivers. It's very possible. You know, even if you can just see another driver, it definitely puts you off. That's not really a bad call. One of the drivers on an out lap is Daniel Shield in the Mercedes. So he's just coming up to the last sector now. He's preparing the car. He's on the soft compound tyres. So the tyre compounds for this season is soft, medium and hard. There's only 3 tyre colours. It's the red, the yellow and the white. We don't have a mixture like we did last year.
Indeed.
To become accustomed to, but of course you guys watching as well be something you notice. So these are not the super soft tyres, they are the soft compound tyres. As the Mercedes driver starts his lap, braking at about 100 metres down to the first corner. Want to hit a lot of that right hand apex. He seems to have done that pretty nicely indeed. So far so good in the Mercedes. DRS open, it's very easy to spin on X on that second corner because of the speed you carry through this through whatever corner that is, 3, 4 and 5 up towards 6 and 7. You kind of have to really hit that apex and try and accelerate as early as you can. It's so easy to lose time. Turn 9 and 10 is a really difficult corner. It is a possibility for overtaking, but if you don't get it right, you're going to get a really compromised exit down this so-called back straight, I suppose, between 10 and 11. 11 is so difficult, it's just a small lift. You want to hit both apexes. He's done that quite well, goes a little bit wide. I don't think he would have got any type of warning from that. Then you have 13 and 14, both 4th gear corners. You want to try and take as much speed. He's kept it in 5th though, keeping the car, letting it drift out to the apex. Could have gone a little bit faster perhaps, and he's going into a pit, so he's decided to abandon that lap. That's roughly a lap of Australia, and still pretty quick, even though he decided to throw the lap away.
Okay, so a lot of people coming out again, staying on the soft tyres, interestingly. I wonder if that's an indication that we're going to have a wet race. We will see. I'd have expected the banker laps to be kind of done on the harder tyres, but we're seeing... we're seeing them, everybody out on soft tyres again. Interesting manoeuvre, but we will see how that pays off as Chromatic or Nicolas Longuet out there for the Red Bull. He's one of the lead cars I think that's come back out. Hypers 119.554. He's a few thousandths off the back of our fair Chromatic. There you go, 32 thousandths off the back. He's in the Williams. It's nice to see a Williams towards the front end of the grid. But we will see. 9 minutes, plenty of time for our drivers to come out and do something about it. Oh, wow, that looked very deep from Nicholas. Yep, I think he's already backed out of that. I'm actually haven't got the telemetry on. Well, he's keeping his deployment up, so he might still be pressing on. It looked like he'd gone too deep into turn 1, but we'll see. We're following through his lap as we saw previously how flowing this track is. Now, Go on.
Sorry, Kodiak. Sometimes even if you do get a bit of a duff up, so to speak, when you know you're not going to achieve what you want to, sometimes, you do just try and, see how fast you can go, because it's always good to get an extra qualifying speed lap in, even if you know you're not going to complete it. So maybe that's what he's doing. But like you say, Kodiak, it's not looking bad.
Yeah, so far so good. Unfortunately, that annoying little FPS stutter, it's not the stream, it's my rig that seems to be struggling. I will get that sorted out for next week. I apologise for that. Oh, new pole time for Jana Watmere, 19.3 in the Renault, but Longuet continuing to press on. Flying Finn, we have 2 of them, but only one of them is referred to as the Flying Finn. It jumped up to 4th in 19.6. What can Nicholas get on the board? It is... A 19.4, so he improved in time but not position. Jarno Otmir in the Renault, still holding on to that pole spot. Very nicely done.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing Sonic on his outlap. I think he's not going very fast. If it's well, he's about 4 seconds off the pace, so he's not going very fast. If it is in the racing point, so
no, he's done his lap.
He's done his lap, so he's probably on an in lap then. That would make sense. And of course, as you say, Flying Finn is also on his in lap now after setting a lap in, and he's up to P5. And already, Kodiak, the top 14 are all within 1 second. We still have 3 drivers who haven't set time. Daniel Shields is seemingly going quite quick at the moment. Last 8 is also going quite quick. He set a 48 in his middle sector in the McLaren. Just coming up to turn 13 now. It's a 4th gear corner for most of the drivers. He's decided to take a mixture of 3rd and 4th, probably just trying to get the weighted car where he wants it. Looking good so far. A left-hander of 15, but the right-hander of 16. If you shift up early enough, you can pretty much take it flat out. He's not able to. DRS wide open. What's it going to be as he crosses the line? It's a 20.0. It's not a bad effort by any stretch, but it puts him 15th for someone's just went. Mateus has just went a little bit quicker, but it puts 15th and 13th to the 2 guys who hadn't set a time, who have just set a lap time. And Daniel Shields will be coming up to the line very soon indeed, Kodiak.
Yes, he will indeed, coming through the last few turns. Oh, excuse me, this cough is going to pester me till the end of the race. So through the final turn then for the Mercedes, what can he get on the board? And that is a 19.8, and that puts him bang in the middle and straight into 9th position. Nicely done. So yep, the entire field 0.8 of a second separates them. Wow, absolutely stunning stuff. And we still have just under 6 minutes to go, so expect that time to come down even further. Hypers has come back out in the Williams. Collis in the McLaren is on a hot lap as well. Shields, as we know, has just done his. COG Steve, or I was going to say Prashnader, no, wrong one. He is out there. Sam LeBert as our reserve, still in 12th, and that's only 0.6 of a second between them and the top spot, so that's amazingly close. I always love it. I shouldn't really be surprised that these drivers are this close, but I am always pleasantly surprised they are this close. And wow, as Sam LeBert nearly slams into the wall as on his way back into the pits. 5 minutes to go as Hyper's on another hot lap there. So yeah, no one opting for anything other than soft tyres. That makes me think that we are in for a wet race. That's going to be interesting. What a way to open the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, wet races, a lot of drivers don't actually practice in the wet weather. I mean, a lot of these drivers are esports, so a lot of them will, you know, they know every track back to front, they know wet, dry, every condition possible, and they probably, you know every single strategy like the back of their hand. But, you know, a lot of drivers don't practice for wet races, and if it is a wet race, then, you know, there's many factors. 1, have you practiced? And 2, how's your car set up? Because a wet-dry setup really is a major difference. I mean, Melbourne's the sort of track where you want to run high downforce, really.
Second for Hypers.
Wow. Not bad. 74 thousandths of a second of Iano in P1, who is actually currently in the pit. So I imagine Hypers is going to want to get into a pit and get out probably quite quickly. It's going to have to be a quick turnaround for the Williams guys. I said, wow. That's a way to get back to a pit quickly.
Well, a few people have done that, I've noticed.
So, fair enough. But, you know, but yeah, it will be a quick turnaround for Williams. But yeah, like I said, Kodiak, a wet setup, you do run much higher downforce, so the car sticks to the track more. So it's, you know, if it is going to be a wet race, these times aren't necessarily that representative, although I am going to be interested. We're only half a second away from last year's pole time, so I'm going to be interested how, you know, the cars compare. Obviously, the front wings look a lot more basic this year than they did last year in 2018. True. So it'll be interesting to see how the qualifying times.
Now, just one small point I want to highlight before we have a look at. Looks like the first people going up for their final Banzai laps. We do have two people by the name of Mateus. It's Mateus Colon and Mateus. So the Mateus in the Ferrari is otherwise known as Mateus. That is what he is called. That is what he's always called. Mateus Colon is FR Hayes. So that's just a haze in the Haas, just to tidy that one up. Now, out comes lots of people. We were having a look at Sonich in the Racing Point. I will call it Force India. Let's get that out of the way now. I will accidentally call it a Force India. If, you know, I say if the pros can get away with it, they don't, because people criticise them for it. But if they do it, I'm going to end up doing it. But most people coming out on track, the yellow flags are fairly, not indicative of anything, because people are just slowing down, waiting to give themselves a bit of a gap to the car in front. So everybody except for Hypers, but Hypers was the last one, I think, to set a representative lap, so he's probably not long back to the pits. He's going to have to be careful about how he comes back out. He's going to have to get on with it as well, because he's only got less than 2 minutes to get across the line to start his next timed lap. But we will see. We now have a very, very busy track.
Yeah, absolutely. Sonic is actually on his hot lap now, going very quickly, 3 tenths up from now. I presume his original. I'm not sure if it's from his last time or the pole time, but regardless, have a moment. If he keeps that pace up, he's going to be on provisional pole. Hopefully, he doesn't hit any traffic ahead of him, which he is coming up to. He passes Shields in the Mercedes, and he's passed his brother in the Alfa Romeo, I believe.
No, that's wide.
The rule goes a little bit wide. Does that mean his lap's going to be invalidated? We'll find out. If it is, he's going to be able to have another go, but his tyres aren't going to be optimal if it's a dry race. Steve almost getting in the way, weaving to try and warm up the tyre. Huge amount of
oh no!
That's massive. Ray Schneider's right in the middle of the road, and that seems to be a collision. And I must admit, I'm afraid Ray Schneider really should have got out of the way of that one.
Oh dear. So yeah, that is a big old collision between Sonich and Prater. Prater is continuing. Well, okay, I guess he may as well. He's at that particular point, but that could well have carry a penalty, as Sonich was on a hot lap at the time. So he will start no higher than 6th with a 19.7. And Hypers has come out. Where is he? Is he gonna? He's just coming out of the last bend. So
Finn's on a hot lap as well. Kodiak in P5. He's going very fast indeed. Just coming up towards 13 and 14.
And Sonich, unsurprisingly, has left the session. Not surprised, because with only a few seconds on the board, he cannot do anything about it. So let's see what the Williams Flying Fin can do. The checker flag is out now, so let us see, can he improve, as that is Hayes that has left the session, and the Flying Fin does go up to third with a 19.471, so he's only a few thousandths off the back of, was just over a tenth off the back of Jarno, and a few thousandths off the back of Hypers. Hypers is out there. Let's see. Jarno has come across the line. He did not improve his time. There's the Red Bull of Nicolas Longuet. Now, he's already done a lap on these tyres, so he may well... It rather depends on how heavy... Oh, Formula Danny with a 19.2. He was always one for doing this, leaving it to the very, very last second to bang an absolute cracking lap in. 1:19 treble 2 for Formula Danny. Hypers coming through.
Look out for Nicolas. Kodiak, look out for Nicolas Longuet. He's on a very, very fast lap indeed. What's he going to get? It's a provisional pole.
1:19.144 for the Red Bull. Oh, it is on. And Hypers comes across the line. He's in third. So Jarno, who's held the pole time for most of the session, is now down in fourth. Wow, that's just how quickly it can all change.
Yeah, incredible. You'll notice drivers says they've left the session. That doesn't mean they've been disconnected or anything. It just means they're not currently in
the quality session.
They're not actually physically racing. So that's what that is. If any of you were interested, so no, people aren't just like losing connection.
So. Go for it, Hamish.
Nicolas Longuet in the Red Bull, a 19.144. He got that out of the bag at the end. One of Hungarian drivers. We had 3 or 4 last year. So Formula Danny in P2, Hypers in P3, Yano in P4, Flying Finn in P5. He'll be disappointed with that, I think. Freyschneider in P6. Let's see if he gets a penalty for that. Corny in P8. Sally in P8. Sonic in P9. And Collis in P10. I imagine there's going to be words said about who did Freyschneider get in the way of. It wasn't Flying Finn, it was Sally. I imagine there's going to Sonic. I imagine there's going to be words said from Force India driver of Sonic to Freyschneider, because I'm afraid he was on a really good lap and that could have been good enough for pole Kodiak.
It was certainly looking sharp, wasn't it? And that doesn't look very wet, interestingly. So my prediction of a wet race may not be correct. We will see, though, when we load down to the grid and everybody has made any last-minute confirmations, any last-minute adjustments they're allowed to do, which isn't very much. They're in park firming conditions, as we all know. So let's see let's see what tyres everybody has gone on to. So everyone was using the soft. Now, the other thing to bear in mind is the soft may simply be not the preferred tyre. It could be that no one particularly favours running the soft tyre for the remainder of the race, so they just burn them up in the qualifying session. Of course, those from 11th downwards can choose their own starting tyre, so we'll see if anybody has gone for anything other than the soft tyres. I'm just waiting for the last few people to load in. 5 more seconds. Ready or not, you will be forced to the grid, and we will have our formation lap in traditional style.
Oh, that's bad. I thought I was losing connection there. It seems to take quite a while.
And it looks like vast majority of people have stayed on the softs. Well, the top 10 obviously will, because that's what they qualified on. And most people have gone for mediums outside of the top 10, except for Mateus and the Ferraris, stuck with the soft tyres. Interesting. So, well, what do I know about tyre strategies? No one is on wet tyres because it's not a wet race. There's a shock. Well, let's... I was never very good at calling tyre strategies in the first place, so oh well, some things never change, eh? It's been 2 months since we've last done this, so let's blow the rust off with an amazing race in. Oh, we've lost Sonic. Oh dear. Hopefully he'll be able to rejoin. So his racing point, they're starting in 9th. Well, due to start in 9th position, although it's currently fallen through the field, I think. Now, the order you see on the left is where they will start, not where they are on track. So we will see, some people will kind of fidget around, especially with disconnections like that. We may have already lost Sonic from the race. That would be a great shame if that is the case.
He could really make some, inroads, some P9, even though his qualifying was, hindered. P9 isn't the worst. Well, he's bang in the middle of the grid pretty much. So there's plenty for him to do from there.
That's how close Hypers is to the back of Formula Danny. They want him to. They're not hanging around, are they, on the formation lap? But of course, with Sonic's disconnection, that is going to force them to hold on the grid for quite a while. We'll see. We will see what happens here. Hopefully, Sonic will be able to return. It would be a great shame to lose one of the Sultans on the before the first race has even begun. A bit of a gap. Oh, well, that's of course Sonic's lagged out car or disconnected car. He's fallen to the back of the field. Lassie's the last one to form up. Well, he will be forming in last position. Looks like, is Mateus's car ghosted as well? It looks like the Ferrari might be ghosted as well, so we may have lost 2 already, but we will see as the cars form up, whether there's drivers in them or not. Here we go then, for the first race of Season 18. It is time to wind them up and let them... Oh, that was a very fidgety Ferrari there from Corny, but we are underway. The Williams looking to try and part the way between Formula Danny and Nicholas Longuet. Doesn't get that one done, but still side by side between the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo as they come through turn 1. The Williams is together. Good start there from Flying Finn. There's lots of fidgeting going on. Mateus has had a bad start, but then if he's ghosted, he will do. Look at that from Formula Danny on the outside of Nicholas Longuet coming into turn 3. What a brilliant move. Still side by side as they come through the next right-hander. Formula Danny's managed to get the move done. What a cracking move from the Alfa Romeo. That was absolutely unbelievable. Formula Danny has not lost anything. of that amazing sharp edge that has won him the championship in the past. Here they come streaming down towards turn 9 into the faster section of the track. Formula Danny, that was... Now, bearing in mind, the Formula Danny did less tyres or used up less soft tyres than everybody else, so that was an absolutely cracking move from the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, absolutely. A very important move as well, Kodiak. There's some fantastic battling between Sam Lebert and Gerrits as well, the Red Bull and the Toro, so I'm pretty sure no sort of inter-team orders were used there. It looked like some pretty hard and good racing. We've got Sally on the back of Collis at the moment in the Alfa Romeo on the Ferrari. I'm sure he'll be looking to make a move any second now. I do think that his qualifying was perhaps slightly slower than he would normally have set, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him move up the grid. At the moment he hasn't, but like you said, what a move from Formula Danny as Matthias, Hayes gets a 3-second penalty already, and I can tell you as well, Kodiak, Matthias is still racing. He is in the lobby.
Nicholas Longuet, that was a huge snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 5, I think I was. So he was lucky to keep that out of the wall. Hyper's in a good position should it all come to grief between the top two, as streaming on through to complete to get halfway through this next lap. Steve, the lead medium runner, is still fairly close to Collis. That's Daniel Shields right behind him in the Mercedes, and it does look like Sonic was not able to rejoin. That's his ghosted car. Oh, what a great shame for him. He was looking to... Oh, Sam Lebert is also on the penalty board. So they're adding their names to that one. That's not a prize you want to have, gentlemen. But never mind, that's the nature of pushing hard in these races. We'll see how that affects the race when we get towards the end. And Crow sitting right in the tyre tracks of Formula Danny as we come down the start-finish straight. Once again, they will now have DRS available to them. Prey Schneider has got the fastest lap. The Red Bull so close to the Alfa Romeo. Here we go. DRS now available to the drivers when they get to the relevant points. Will the Red Bull make a move on the Alfa? No, he's a little bit too far back. And look how close everybody is. Everyone has DRS down to 13th. Which is Matthias. Wow. Now, Matthias hasn't been able to use those soft tyres very well so far. Bearing in mind, he was outside of the top 10, and he hasn't really made any progress through the field with his softer rubbers. So his strategy is going to be quite difficult. I wouldn't be surprised if he went onto the hard tyres much earlier than everybody else, but we'll see what the field does. Again, Longuet looking to make a move on the inside of Formula Danny. Doesn't yet make it, but keeping the pressure on. Now, we've seen Formula Danny defend brilliantly well many times in the past. We'll see how well he can hold off the Red Bull.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't look like he's not exactly steaming. In fact, I'd say it's quite the opposite. It looks like he's very much under pressure by Longuet. So it'll be very interesting to see.
Through the field they come then, and the Williams pair so close as well. That's Flying Finn and Hypers. Jarno, who was our pole man, or was our pole man for a long time, was demoted in the closing stages of qualifying. Still right in this pack. DRS not open on the Renault. Has he had a DRS failure already? Oh, that would be catastrophically bad for him, as DRS is going to play a very big part. Here comes Longuet. Can he make the move on Danny? No, he opts not to. There's plenty of time in this race. He doesn't need to be making the desperate moves this early on, but you know, when the red mist descends...
He defended in the two major DRS overtaking areas.
Very true. And Jarno, even though he seems to have that DRS problem, he is right there, staying right with the seemingly both of the Williams guys are lagging. Hopefully that's not a problem for me, as I seem to have lost a bit of lost connection to you, Hamish, for a little bit of what you were saying there. Hopefully that's not a problem on my side. I know I've got enough technical issues already going on. The Renault getting very close to the Williams. He's not going to make a move there. It'll be very much... It wouldn't even be do or die. It would just be die if you tried to make a move at that particular stage through turns 11 and 12. I'm amazed this field hasn't spread out at all. Much more than it already has. And even still, Steve, on the medium tyres, is still in DRS range of Collis. well, this entire train. So he's having a good race. Let's not lose sight of the racing point of Steve. His strategy could well come good as the race continues.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Racing Point need points.
That was always going to come out, wasn't it? Racing Points need the points.
They need the points today, as they've only got half their drivers. As Schneider picks himself up.
Oh.
P6, that could be very costly at the moment. That's going to drop him down to P10.
Schneider in the wars again in the Mercedes now. Again, as a reminder, they can have those penalties appealed, but generally the 3-second ones. I have seen a 2-second penalty happen in this game as well. So it's not only 3-second penalties that go on, but they can have them appealed. But generally, those track limit penalties are they generally are slam dunk penalties. Yeah, they don't tend to change.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, track limits are kind of just set by the game, and like you say, they can be appealed, but then there's normally no points, so the drivers tend not to, but sometimes it's worth a try anyway. Formula Danny still leading this pack. He's doing a really good job as Formula Danny. He's certainly got plenty of experience. Long A as well. For any of you who don't know who he is, he's actually Chromatic, so he was with us last season, so he is a driver we know. It's just we refer to him of his actual name. No doubt I am certainly saying plenty of names wrong, so I do apologise. But not able to overtake Formula Danny in the first DRS overtaking opportunity. How about the second? He's just not quite got it, Kodiak. I'm thinking maybe he's running slightly higher downforce. Maybe that's why he's able to stick with them so easily through the corners, and just very quickly these guys having himself. And in fact, I'm not entirely sure why that was. Maybe going a little bit wide, the exit of turn, what would it be, turn 5, but seemed a little bit odd that he would have. But because these cars have so much more simpler front wings, it doesn't mean they can follow about 50% better in the dirty air. So that's just something to note.
I think you've got a point on the downforce levels between Danny and Nicholas Longuet, in the sense that Danny just seems to be able to absolutely nail that last turn 16, and he gives himself enough distance between himself and the chasing Red Bull to prevent Nicholas having a crack into turn 1. But look how close he is once again. He's reeled the Alfa Romeo back in through the rest of the lap. So again, where the downforce will be at its most effective, obviously through the corners, he's then able to reel it, and in the pits comes Longuet. So yeah, Nick so so the soft runners, and that's Corny in as well. So the soft runners getting rid of their qualifying tyres. I didn't think they'd last too much longer than that. Well, they might go a little deeper into the race, but nope, they've decided to try and undercut. It's going to be hard tyres for them. One-stop strategies do tend to be the order of the day in these 50% races, and I doubt that is going to change. Hard tyres indeed for Nicholas Longuet, Hypers, and Schneider. It's going to be interesting to see what the medium starters do, how long they can make their tyres last for. Will they try and really stretch out the mediums to go for a soft stint at the end? We'll see. But Steve is still in a brilliant position, still in DRS range on the back of Collis. Doesn't need to make any moves at this stage. He knows that everyone ahead of him is going to have to jump out of the way eventually. So he's just biding his time, essentially. He's more interested, I would imagine, in Daniel Shields behind, who, incidentally, doesn't have DRS off the back of the Racing Point. So he can just pick his moment, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny is absolutely flying. As Fabrizio Donato has just said in chat, hello, Bab, it's great to see you watching us. Sam the Bear getting...
That's another one for Sam.
Penalty. Yeah, just looking at my notes.
And Danny again doesn't come in.
Really trying to see my little of a no man like that, because I don't know what to do with them.
You've lagged very badly there, I'm afraid.
It works for some.
You lagged very badly there, Hamish, I'm afraid. We didn't really hear much of what you were saying there. Interesting that several of the top guys have still not come in. Danny, Sally, and Collis of these soft starters have yet to come into the pit. Danny is doing some absolutely cracking laps without any direct pressure. Steve is right there, still looming behind Collis. Now, I doubt Steve is going to want to lose any time behind the McLaren. So when the McLaren's tyres are going to be dead, and they must be pretty dying by now. So, Steve may well have to force the move earlier than he would have normally liked. Oh, and that was too tight coming out of turn 12. That would have been a warning for Steve, unfortunately. And that's Hayes on the penalty board again. So that's the penalties are still pretty severe. And they're certainly racking up for a number of people. Does Danny come in this time? No! But again, bearing in mind, Danny did only a few qualifying laps. This, I would think, was exactly his aim. Yep, Collis and Sally both come in at the same time. Steve is going to come through. Yeah, Matthias has come in, so only Danny, well, if you include Sonich, who disconnected sadly during the parade lap. And, only Danny has got his original starting tyres on.
Yeah,
only starting soft tyres, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. 8 laps on the soft compound tyres. I mean, even these medium tyres aren't going to be their optimal at the moment. So I expect to see Steve slowly closing in. The current gap is 4 seconds to Formula Danny. Will over.
Oh, Nicholas Longay. Sorry to cut you off there, Hamish. Nicholas Longay and Flying Finn having an argument. The Williams taking the battle to the Red Bull.
Wow.
Now they're going to be still probably getting those hard tyres up to their operating window. Jana Watmere and Hypers in hot pursuit as well. They all came in. Well, they didn't all come in the same lap, actually. It was Hypers and Preciator came in slightly earlier than Flying Finn and Jano, but that is a hell of a scrap going on there. And keeping an eye on Danny. He's not up to the pits yet. Surely he's got to come in this time. He can't keep... I mean, his lap times have been absolutely... He's been absolutely hammering it. His ERS is down to 0. Surely he's coming in this time. I know he's in corners, so he would turn it down. Nope. Again, what do I know about tyre strategies? He is making those work.
But the thing is, he's not exactly going slowly. He's he's lost 4/10 of a second to Steve. But in the reality of things, Kodiak, that's not bad at all.
Oh dear, Corey's in trouble. He's missing a big old chunk of his front wing. I've just seen he's dropped down to 16. He's hit something pretty solid, pretty hard. Yeah, big chunk of the left part of his front wing is gone. That is going to hurt. I would think he's going to crawl in. And he does indeed. So another pit stop for the Ferrari. Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big shame. And he'd only done one lap, so
and he's out.
And he's retired as well. Yeah, big shame. Just very quickly, Kodiak, Formula Danny isn't actually losing that much time. His actual lap time per lap is only about a second slower than it was 9 laps ago, which it sounds a lot, and it is a lot, but it's not as bad as you think. And Corny also has a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I don't think he's going to be too concerned about that one. He'll just pay the fine and be done with it, because that is just a shame. So Danny's not losing too much time. Is he coming into the pits? I suspect he probably will this lap. And yes, he is finally into the pits. I'm very much interested to see where he comes out, because I think he's going to have lost a little bit of time to some of his rivals.
Steve was really closing in on Danny at a hell of a rate of knots before Danny came in. And also Sam Libera has come in. And now Sam was on the medium tyres, and it's mediums for Danny. Oh, 29 laps on the medium tyres. That's... Surely he's got to come in again. Can he really make him? How many times have I said that in the past, though? You can't do that, and he goes ahead and does it. Collis and gets the new fastest lap on the board on the hard tyres.
Yeah, well, Danny is a former champion, Kodiak, so he knows a thing or two about the Formula 1 game, you'd hope. Considering he's won the AOR F1 Championship. What season would that have been? Season 17, was it? 16, is it?
I think, 15, beg your pardon, because 16 was Daniele Haddad, who got signed for Renault.
Oh. Yes, my gosh, wow. It doesn't feel like that long ago, but it clearly was. Wow, that's
in fairness, Formula Danny was the only person to hold a candle to Haddad. And Danny missed 4 races that season due to esports commitment.
I think he would have.
He'd have certainly been right there. If he hadn't taken the season, he would have been right there. But never mind. Steve leads the way in the Racing Point. Then he's broken DRS, or he has remained out of DRS range, to the Mercedes of Daniel Shields, otherwise known as Norfolk Blue, the Australian being signed in this year's or the previous Pro Draft. Then Gerrits, we've seen last season, he is in the Red Bull, partnering Nicolas Longuet in third position. They are still on their starting medium tyres. Then Matheus Calon, who is Hayes, he's got himself on the penalty board already in the Haas, but is holding on to fourth position now with the kind of management phase of this race. Lasset in the McLaren holds on to fifth, so roughly similar gaps between each car in the top five. Hypers gets his name on the penalty board. He didn't want to be left out. However, I say management phase, I don't think Nicolas Longuet is going to be feeling that, because Flying Finn's already had a crack at him. They're all on near enough same length, same life medium hard tyres rather. But I'm more interested in that Alfa Romeo in the pack, the odd one out, the only one on the medium tyres. So we'll see how well Danny can really capitalise on that. Because at the moment, the hard runners aren't really scrapping one another, the exception of Flying Finn on Nicolas Longuet. So we will see.
You don't think Formula Danny is thinking of something like a two-stop, a soft tyre to the end? That would be a bit bizarre, wouldn't it, Kodiak?
He wants the fastest lap.
Wow, yeah. There is there a point? Are we awarding a point to fastest lap?
Yep.
As well in AR, so there is an extra point. There's 26 points up for grabs.
Steve is in.
Oh, Steve is in. So, for those of you who are new, as long as you're in the top 10, you will get an extra point if you get the fastest lap. If you're outside of the top 10, then unfortunately, even if you do set the fastest lap, that won't be applied to you. But Formula Danny is really closing out quite a rate of knocks. Lebert
again.
That's 9 seconds of penalty.
He's going to be finishing the race tomorrow at this rate.
Well, absolutely. I hate to say it because I know he's watching from the sidelines, but unfortunately Donoso knows what it's like, to get a couple of penalties his way, and it does affect your results massively. So you really do want to be trying to, maximise your races. It's much better to go a couple of tenths a lap slower than it is to get 9 seconds of penalty.
Spotting someone correcting me in chat, it was David Tanita, it was not Daniele Haddad. I got the wrong Renault there. Wrong Italian. They were well, they were both Italian, both in the Renaults. It was indeed David Tanita that got signed by Ferrari this time around, the Italian going to the Italian squad. And here is Danny on Hypers' case. Oh, there he goes. Great exit from turn 12. He's done the outside manoeuvre. The Williams goes to the inside line, but Hypers is not going to be able to defend that. So essentially jumped out of Formula Danny's way, but he's got to keep doing that. Gerrits is now in the pits to get shot of those medium tyres. I assume it was hard tyres for Steve. Yes, it was. And that's going to be, medium to hard is the favoured strategy. It's only Danny that's doing something different. That will be why I wonder if Danny is on a two-stop. That'll be why he was in such a hurry to get into the lead on the opening lap. So he could well be playing the two-stop. I suspect he'll be the only one that is, judging by everyone else's tyre calls so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the people who are really going to give him an indicator is Matheus and Daniel Shield. They will give an indicator on, on how long these medium tyres can last, and they'll give Danny, a lot of. I'm sure he knows anyway, but it'll give him a lot of information on how fast it can last in a race situation when there's other cars going around the track as well. At the moment, he's right on the back of the Renault. I imagine he's not going to try and move into 11. That would be quite risky. No, he doesn't, but he's in the right place. And if he gets, when he gets DRS as well, he's going to edge him ever closer. He's got the Flying Finn in front of the Renault. Matheus gets a penalty as well, so that's very unfortunate for him.
The Renault Viano getting a little bit squiggly coming out of turn 14 as Matheus or Hayes has brought his car in. So Shields and Lasset yet to get rid of their starting tyres. I can't imagine that Danny is going to be able, unless he just wants to get to the front of this particular pack and just manage his tyres, but surely he can't make the mediums last that long. We will see. If anybody can, Danny can. This is a man that has several videos online drifting a car around corners. So if anybody can, he can. Oh, Sam LeBear is going for the full collection of penalties as he gives himself the 5 second speed in the pit lane one. Usually that one comes up when someone's about to retire. He's come in after 3 laps on the hard. No, he's gone to the mediums. He seems to be coming out again. Okay, well, Sam LeBear getting some practice in, if nothing else, as Danny is staying right in this pack of hard shod cars. Longuet still leads the way in this particular train, now up to 3rd position. And Corney has left the session. I have a feeling now there was some discussion about that used to carry a penalty, and Sam has indeed retired his car, so that was fairly inevitable, I think. Now leaving the session before the race was complete used to carry a penalty because it used to carry issues. I have a funny feeling that particular penalty is under discussion, or I don't know if it's been removed. I'm not party to those particular discussions, so I have a funny feeling that is no longer such a catastrophic issue of people leaving the session before it's complete. But never mind. On we go. And Danny can't do anything on Yano at the moment, as they all have DRS off one another.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone mentioned in chat that Danny can easily make them last. You're probably right. He probably can make them last.
But there'll be rubber bands by the end of it.
Yeah, but how much slower will he be than these when the drivers on the hard compound tyres? That is the main question, I mean, the guys in front have made the tyres last at least 15 laps, so presumably Danny can do the same in a couple more laps. So he's in the right sort of ballpark, but he's going to be losing so much time. Just look at the speed. Longuet is, catching up to Lasse. At the moment it's 5 seconds. I imagine next lap will be considerably less.
We will see. There's a helicam shot, a little bit too close to see that entire pack as they come streaming down towards 13 and 14 to complete lap 16. Shields and Lasse still yet to see the pit lane, and the Mercedes is continuing, and the McLaren is not. So Daniel Shields, now free of immediate pressure, is going to try and, I guess, just burn those tyres down to nothing and use any life left in them to get some distance between himself. Oh, look at the fighting going on along here. Sally Sutter. Oh, I thought that was someone falling through the field. Lasse's gone on to softs. Oh, that's... Wow. Well, right. I mean, if the mediums can go 20-odd laps, then the softs should be able to do 13, so... Yeah. That's risky in my mind, but I've already been proven wrong in many, many occasions. Oh, no, and that's trouble. That's Steve that spun after a bit of contact with the McLaren, it seemed, and that's Mateus that has gone through, so Steve's day getting even worse. Garrix has got company from Hayes, but Lasse is now, how far is he behind the leader? He is 28 seconds behind the leader now, so he's just got to do qualifying lap on qualifying lap. He's got to gain at least 2 to 3 seconds every single lap without fail, traffic or not. That's a tall ask in my opinion, but look at this pack here. This is second, down to 6th. Longuet, Flying Finn, Jarno Opmeer, Formula Danny in Hypers. All in. Oh, Sally getting his name on the penalty board as Danny trying an inside manoeuvre on the Renault of Jarno Opmeer. Can't get it to stick, unfortunately. Sally just pushing the Alfa Romeo slightly too much off the road, and he's going to get a penalty for that. And she still hasn't come in. Well, we will see.
Well, very brave indeed. Very quickly to clear up your sort of question, Kodiak, about the AI or the confusion of the AI with leaving the session. You only get a penalty now if your AI happens to do something. So if you leave the session, your AI crashes into a car, then that unfortunately means that whoever leaves will get the penalty. But providing that doesn't happen, then you're safe. As he retired, I presume that means there shouldn't be any problems there. Formula Danny. Yeah. So, Kodiak.
I mean, if they retire in the pit lane, then that should park the park the AI. But we'll say, or he's thrown it in the wall. A 3-wheel car doesn't do very well in these circumstances.
Absolutely. If any more drivers retire, you never know. Sonic might actually get some points. It's in 15th at the moment. Not exactly fast, but
in ghosted form as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Although the AI was able to make the tyres last not 16.
Yeah, but he was desperately slow.
14 laps. So there you go.
Yeah, but a long way off the pace. And that's Hayes getting a penalty. Daniel Shields is indeed in. The lead Mercedes is going to come onto soft tyres. So, I mean, if Lassie can make them work from that far, then Daniel Shields should be able to. Longuet takes over the lead with a lot of company there in the form of Flying Finn, Jarno Opmir 3, Formula Danny 4, and Hypers 5. Pracian is only a couple of seconds off the back of Hypers at the moment, so we'll see how this pack is going to filter out. Where does Daniel Shields reappear? Lassie with the fastest lap, that's not really a surprise. He's only just outside of the points, in fairness, is Daniel Shields, so yeah, that could really work, and Lassie's not actually that far off the back of Shields. Oh, here comes the McLaren. Garrix, even with DRS open, bit of a lock-up from the McLaren. Garrix gives him the room, and up into 13th for Lassie. We're on the outside of turn 4, and job done for him. That is, as we always have in this tier, there's a lot of fighting going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And interesting, as you said, Shields, as soon as he closes in to Mateus, is barely every other second, and then he's actually got a car. So, if he's able to make up a second a lap, let's say, which I don't think is entirely impossible on the fresh soft compound tyres, then who knows? He could be looking at a 7th, 6th position at the end of this race. So if he does, then good for him.
Oh, Flying Finn, he's in this pack of top 3. He's now on the penalty board. So yeah, the final positions going to be decided on the penalty board, sadly. But Formula Danny gets a great ringside seat for the battle ahead. Is Flying Finn going to make a move on Longuet? No. Very, very close, though, as they come through turn 1. The Williams right in the tyre tracks of the Red Bull. I wondered whether the Williams had a DRS failure there. Oh, and that's Jarno! It's Jarno and Formula Danny having a 5 for 3rd. Can the Alfa Romeo hang on? No! And Jarno Opmir just manages to fend off Formula Danny, but that, of course, drops them off the back of the lead too. But Alfa Romeo of Formula Danny, I mean, he could well have just been biding his time in that pack, saving the best of his softer rubber for the final stint, of which, we're now in the final 10 laps of the race, so Danny could still come alive. And also, jumping back to our soft runners, Lassie and Daniel Shields are, I'll say beside each other. There they are. They're a couple of seconds apart, but 11th and 12th, with a lot of kind of worn hard tyres ahead of them. So the Mercedes could still climb quite a long way into the points before the end of the race. Yeah, Flying Finn on Longuet, that's for the lead. Sorry to cut you off again. That was a big old move on the inside of turn 13. Whoa, and that's a big snap of oversteer for Hypers and the other Williams. So Nicholas Longuet has... he could well have surrendered that, because he would have been informed that the driver behind him, what was behind him at the time, would have had a penalty. So Flying Finn needs to basically run off down the road to undo that penalty. We will see.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting, Kodiak. You mentioned about Hypers getting some oversteer. When Danny lost a little bit of time, and he's currently on Jarno as well at the moment. Is he going to make a move? Maybe on the inside? No, he isn't. Good decision to stay in the slipstream and just stay behind the car. I think that would have been too risky on Verano. Interestingly, Hypers also got a massive oversteer when Danny made not necessarily a mistake, was slowed down, because he could have got P4 off Danny, but he had oversteer, so he lost rear of the car and he cost himself about a second. So Hypers possibly feeling the pressure of a potential overtakers. What's wrong with Danny doing?
I don't know. He's in trouble. He's in trouble.
He just drove off the track. That was a very, very strange instance. I thought it could have been lag, but it wasn't. He literally just... It looks like his brakes stopped working, but such a strange incident. As Jarno is very close to Nicholas Longuet, who actually also has a penalty, Kodiak. He has a 3-second penalty.
Strange one for Formula Danny, a rare mistake for him, but if those tyres are dead, then that will be a tributing factor. Daniel Shields now in the points in the soft shot Mercedes, and is going to be putting the pressure on Steve. I can't see that the hard shot Racing Point is going to be able to fend this one off as they come through the final turn. Mateus is right with them as well. Well, I say right with him. He's hasn't had a good run from that final turn. There he goes. Nowhere near the braking point for the first turn, and Daniel Shields up into 9th. He's got...
Although Racing Point's going to have a go back at Daniel Shields. He was alongside him, braking late, but he's not able to make anything of it. Very close. And Mateus, wow, look at how much closer he is now, Kodiak. He's right behind Steve.
Yeah, great three-way battle forming there for the last points-paying positions. Mateus currently the one that is the loser of that particular fight. We'll see how the penalty count influences that one now. The lead battle, a set of 4 of Flying Finn leading the way, Nicholas Longuet 2, Jarno Opmid 3, and Hypers with a great ringside seat for everything going on ahead of him as they come out of 12 through 13 and down towards a little bit too far apart to try anything at the moment. So we'll see then if they can punch that up in the closing lap. They may just kind of calm themselves down, recharge their ARS. I mean, Hypers is up to full, so he doesn't need to do anything, whereas Jarno's on 52. Nicholas is on 40 odd, trying to keep up with Flying Finn, but Flying Finn needs to run off. He needs to overcome that penalty or hope that people behind him pick up that same penalty. But Danny is a couple of seconds off the back of that pack that he was previously in. I wonder if he's used the best of those tyres already, and he's got very little ERS energy as well.
Yeah, he's, unfortunately... I can't help but feel that Danny made perhaps a very wrong call there. He's in P5. Let's see how much he closes in. He's currently 2 seconds behind Hypers. Is he going to be able to close in or not? We will find out. Steve getting himself on the penalty board as well. There seems like there's quite a few drivers on penalty board. Flying Finn, Steve's got penalties. Mateus has got a penalty. Hypers has got penalty. Nicholas Longuet has a penalty. Frey Schneider has 6 seconds of penalty, and Hayes.
Now Danny. Now Danny
on the board as well.
Yeah, wow. So Danny was actually looking good to overcome at least one, maybe 2 of those positions through penalties, but now he's just undone that for himself. So has everyone in the top 4 got penalties then?
Who got Finn?
Flying Finn.
Jarno hasn't got a penalty. Let me just double check Kodiak, but I'm pretty sure Jarno doesn't have a penalty. In fact, he's barely got any warnings. So
wow.
He's got 3 warnings, but both from lap 1. So presumably they've been erased. So actually, at the moment, I think Jarno's actually in P1, provisional P1, and if Formula Danny didn't get that penalty, then actually he could be P2, but unfortunately not at the moment.
Well, still some time left. It can all change. It seems to be my stream is struggling when I'm on the off-board camera, so I'm going to stick with the TV pod, just so that it doesn't make everybody sick. Again, wholeheartedly apologise for that. It didn't happen during testing. I don't know why it now is. I will get it sorted for next time around. So apologies there. Let's have a look at where everybody is as we enter the final stages of this race. Flying Finn leads the way. Nicholas Longuet 2, Jarno Opmid 3, Hypers 4, Danny 5, Frey Schneider in the Mercedes is in 6th, then Collis 7, Sally Sultank, and Frey Schneider on the board again. Oh dear, oh dear. But currently
9 seconds now.
Ouch, that's quite a way down. So Sally in the Alfa Romeo in 8th position. Daniel Shields on that soft strategy he's running. Has Shields got any penalties?
No, he hasn't, Kodiak. Let me double check, but I don't think he does.
Steve does, and he's in 10th at the moment in the Force India. Mateus in 11th in the Ferrari. He's got Lasse right on his case. Also a soft shod car in the McLaren. And Mateus Cologne, otherwise known as Hayes, he was doing his best to try and hang on to the DRS off the back of the Ferrari, off the back of the McLaren. So he's unfortunately fallen outside of that all drastic 1 second gap. Garrick's in 14th. And Sonnet, unfortunately, is a ghost, so he will not be counted in the standings. Oh my goodness, look at the top 4. They have now all bunched up. 5 laps to go here in Australia. And it is all on for that top spot. But Jarno is the one in the pound seat, because he's the one with the least amount of penalties.
Yeah, absolutely. How many Hypers? In fairness, Kodiak, all of this is for position simply because they all have penalties. So that includes Formula Danny. He also has a penalty. And Frey Schneider has so many penalties.
Dropped him out of it.
This is all for position apart from Yano. So just imagine Yano's P1 and everyone else has penalties as Hayes gets himself another penalty. How many penalties is that for him? Now that's 12 seconds.
Oh, that's Lassie and Matthias side by side. The McLaren trying to do something against the Ferrari. Matthias defending very nicely coming into turn 14. The McLaren can't do anything about it. Into 15, and Matthias has been defending pretty well against Lassie, and great drive from that final corner for the Ferrari. He's gonna the pace difference is just too long for the Ferrari to keep the McLaren back. Oh no, and that's impact. Oh no, Flying Finn's in trouble. Flying Finn has lost 2 positions. Longuet and Yanawami have gone through. He's made a mistake. As I was looking at one battle, the other one then came alive. Oh. Flying Finn from first to third in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, I mean, talking about battles, Shields is probably going to be making a couple of moves any second. Now he's behind Sully Soltnick at the moment, and he's also behind Collis in the McLaren. So does that mean that maybe down the straight or the next couple of corners, the Mercedes driver is going to be making a move, but it's all happening up front as well. It looks like the Williams of a Flying Finn is right behind Yano. In fact, Yano's going to try and move on Leger. He's not able to make anything work. Yano might know he already has P1 anyway, because his team will inform him of a penalty. He won't know how many for, but he knows it's more than him because he hasn't got any. So wow, it is all happening, Kodiak, and Daniel Shields is going to be in DRS range of the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, as Sally is off the back of Collis as well, so Shields may not be able to do anything into turn 1, and Collis is safe from an attack. 3 laps to go. It is still all to fight for. Now Longuet back into the lead, but still penalties to play out. The top 4, actually the top 5. Danny's back in this pack again from that strange incident that he was in. Bracelet is not that far off the back of it, indeed. So, again, I keep coming back to the word penalties. It's Bracelet is really not in this battle, realistically speaking, but he's got a great ringside seat for the top 5 to fight out. What a way to start the season. The top guys all, let's see what the gap is. 1.8 seconds separates the top 6. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
Kodiak Shields has made a move on Sally Soltnick, and I tell you what, Kodiak, this is the one for you. How about Shields getting a podium on the opening round because he hasn't got a penalty?
Nice.
Trey Schneider's got penalties. Danny has penalties. Hypers has penalties. In fact, talking about Hypers, he's been overtaken by Formula Danny, who's now on the back of a Flying Finn, who is on the back of Yano, on the back of Longuet at the moment. Yano is in P1 because of penalties, but the guys around him haven't got penalties. Collis, I don't think, does have a penalty, but I think Daniel Shields will make a move, so he could be getting a podium from P8 purely through penalty promotions.
I genuinely don't know where to look. Unfortunately, because the broadcast camera is not behaving itself for me, I'll add, on my rig, it's fine. It's on the stream that it's just going around making everybody ill. So, unfortunately, I'll have to figure that out. And Lassie is in the pits after that incident he's had. I suspect that is going to be a retirement for the McLaren. But what a great way to finish off this first round of the season. If this is anything to go by, then we are in for an amazing season here in PCF1. As Flying Finn keeps himself very, very close to the Renault as they come through 9 and 10 through that long left-hander that ironically doesn't have a corner number. And then the chicane of 11 and 12. Longuet, he could try and stretch his legs up front, but he hasn't really got time unless someone makes a colossal mistake. He's not really going to be able to overcome the penalties he's had. Let's get on board with Hypers. As he can then see what Formula Danny is doing. Flying Finn very, very close to Yano, as previously mentioned. Round the penultimate turn, and it is going to be the start of the final lap. And Lassie, oh dear. Well, he hasn't retired, I'll give him that. Even if he does get fastest lap, all he does is deny the point to somebody else. And no one is going to capitalise off of the DRS down that main straight through turns 1 and 2. Longuet does look like he's got a big enough gap between himself and Yano. For what it's worth, he will cross the line first unless more disaster befalls. We will see as we're on our final lap.
Kodiak, I don't think Lasse would get a point, would he? Because he's outside the top 10. Is
no,
that
he
right?
would. Correct, but he would deny somebody else getting it.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, does it not? Oh, right. Okay, fair enough. I thought it might have just gone down.
No.
Oh, I see.
No, he won't get it because he's outside of the top 10. He would just stop somebody else from scoring it.
Right, I see. Yeah, that makes sense now. Right, Formula Danny. Well, it's behind Flying Finn. Is he going to make a move? Because that is for position, and a podium would certainly do him some good after that horrible mistake he made. Because on the last lap, Finn on the back of Jarno, it doesn't really make any difference. This could be massively risky for Jarno because he doesn't want to be taken out of a race. And Formula Danny is trying his absolute hardest.
Sonny Solkins and Daniel Shields have swapped round. Shields has got no tyres left. Oh, it's all kicking off on the final lap. But
Steve as well on the inside of Daniel Shields, which will turn to the outside. He's got more grip in the racing point. No, he hasn't. DRS open for both of the drivers, and he's not able to make anything done. And he is so close to the line, but he's not.
Wow. Sally Salting in the dying seconds just made the move. Penalties have shaken the board around. It is indeed. Jarno Opmeer is going to take the opening win in the Renault. Nicholas Longuet too. Flying Finn rounds out the podium. By half a second, Danny was right there outside of the podium spots, and then by 86 thousandths of a second, Collis was behind Danny for 5th. Daniel Steers, what a great effort for him to come up to 6th position on that contra strategy. The Hyper 7, Sally 8, Steve 9 and Prationator rounding out the points paying positions. Who got fastest lap in the end? Daniel Shields. So unless is Lassie still going actually? We'll have to see whether Lassie stole that in the last, but otherwise that Lassie go to Daniel Shields.
Wow, not bad at all. I must admit, I don't know who your driver of the day is, Kodiak, but my driver has to be Daniel Shields. I mean, up from P11, it's such an awesome drive. No penalties. A lot of the drivers did get penalties. So he did a really good job to keep it clean, and overall, great job from Mercedes driver. Really impressive.
To me, it would be Jarno. He just kept it clean, kept the pressure on all the time. Daniel Shields, a very worthy nominee, don't get me wrong, but for me, it would be Jarno Opmeer. Those in the chat, please put forward your driver of the day nominations. But the winner of the race is the one that, the one by penalty that won the race. But what a stunning way to open the series, even if my stream doesn't want to agree with me. So. And I get experience. Thank you very much for that.
Me too. I'm very pleased about that.
So only 4 drivers did not get penalties. Wow. Jarno, that thing's disappeared. Gerrits was one of them. Oh, there we go. It's Daniel Shields, and Collis was the other one that did not get penalties in that race. So, take it away, Mr. Hamish.
Yeah, Jarno Opmeer. P1, what a drive from him. Like you say, many people are going to choose him as driver of the day. Nicholas Longuet, well, he was in the lead for a lot of the time. He qualified on P1, but no luck. P2 for him. Flying Finn in P3 in the Williams. P4, it's Formula Danny. Collis in P5. Shields in P6. Hypers in P7. Sally Soltic in P8. Stephen P9, Frisch Schneider in P10, Tess in P11, Gerrits in P12, Hypers Hayes in P13, in P14 we have Lasse, and Sonic unfortunately had that disconnect at the beginning, so that denied him of any possible points. He'll be looking to do better next time. Sam Lebert in P16 and Corny in P17, both of those getting a lot of penalties had they finished the race. What a race we've had though, Kodiak. It's fantastic. What a race indeed. Right, shall we see who wants to have a chat to us? This ought to be interesting. Absolutely. Right, let's see. Now, it's not obligatory for our drivers to come and have a chat, but it is nice to have a word with them, see what their thoughts are after the race, especially for those that may have had an eventful race, or even those that didn't have an eventful race. It's still nice to have a chat with them. And we have got some candidates. It is Grow and Hypers. Let's grab them over. And as an extra bonus for us commentators, we interrupt a conversation. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you very much for spending the time to come and have a chat to us. What a race! Once again, PTF1 not disappointing, even if my stream did.
to provide us some amazing races. Let's have a chat to Hypers first of all. Representing Veloci, wow, were you really putting in the moves and keeping yourself right in contention, even up to the very last? Great job. What's your thoughts?
Mixed feelings, to be honest. I felt like I had the pace of something more, but obviously the penalties were kind of just ruined my race. I mean, some of them were really weird. The track's very inconsistent, but anyways, I did quite well. I was happy that I was staying with the top guys, and if not these penalties, then who knows, that could have been even a podium, but unfortunately everything was lost in the pit stops. I lost 2 positions in the pit stops because I got held, and also I was conservative on the 3. But yeah, I mean, quite happy with it anyways. The grid is really strong, so P7 is only good. I could get 1 penalty removed, but I forgot to screenshot the rest. Yeah, anyways, quite happy that I could keep up with the front.
Good stuff. So, is this a sign of things to come? Is this where you're going to, aiming for the top 5 kind of positions? Is that where you're realistically putting yourself? Because, my God, have we got an amazing grid this season? Oh, my dog's joining in as well.
Well, to be honest, I don't really know. I want to stay at the top and then just reduce the penalties and see where can I go from there. But that race was definitely a good of confidence for the rest of the season.
Awesome stuff, well done, and I'm sure we will be chatting to you again as the season continues. Mr. Longuet, hello! What a way to represent your organisation, sir!
Yeah, that was quite a fun race. Well, first of all, huge congrats to Jarno. He drove a fantastic race with no penalties, so congrats to him. Well, I'm happy with P2. I was not expecting P2. Well, the pace was alright. Shame that penalty. Very disappointed in that myself. I wish I didn't cut the corner, but I'm very confident for the next races, and I think this season's going to be a very good one.
I have absolutely no doubt. We kind of surmised about that looking at the sign-up list. So where did you think, realistically speaking, you were going to be? Obviously, you said you weren't expecting to be in the podium spots. Where did you think you were going to be?
Well, I was mostly strong in qualifying, so I was expecting a top 5 in quali. But then in the race, I wasn't very comfortable with my setup yet, so I was expecting points, maybe a P6 or P5, but not necessarily P2. Let's say.
Well, here is a sign of things to come. So, with the season ahead of us, is there any particular races you're looking forward to? Any that you're less looking forward to? Obviously, some tracks suit some people more than others. What's your thoughts for the season ahead?
Well, of course, there's tracks that I like, that I don't like, and the tracks I'm good at and bad at. Well, I'm gonna skip the next 2 races, unfortunately, because I'm not gonna be home. But Baku, I for sure look forward to it. I'm looking pretty strong there, and also Canada, not bad track. Come on. Pretty good.
I do not give you permission to skip the races. You must be here. I don't care what your excuse is. So,
I'll try my best.
Great effort, Nicholas. Well done. I fully anticipate we will be chatting to you several times throughout the season. Well done, and good luck for the remainder of the season.
Thank you very much.
No one else has come forward to have a chat to us, which is absolutely fine. They're not obliged to, and I'm sure they're pretty knackered as well, because that was pretty intense up front. So we're going to sign off here. Thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream. Again, once again, apologies for the technical problems. I will get that resolved for next week. Thank you very much, Hamish, for jumping in the box with me. Always a pleasure to have you with me, sir.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much to our drivers for putting on, I think we'll all agree, an incredible show, and we look forward to that throughout the season. Thank you very much to our sponsors. Without you guys, AOR would not continue to grow, and we will be back for round 2 next Sunday at 8 PM for PCF1. But plenty of racing going on in between then and now, so do check back with us then. Until then, thank you very much, and good night!